Take a look at this trend of Google searches for the term D&D from 2014 when 5th edition launched to 2022. Right here, in August of 2020, we reached and then passed the peak number of searches people made for Dungeons and Dragons in its most abbreviated form. To be clear, this does not mean D&D 5e is dead or unpopular or even losing popularity. It tells us that the number of people discovering or searching for information about D&D plateaued about 2 years ago. And I think this is strong evidence that the overall popularity of D&D has stopped growing, at least for now. But for big parent companies like Hasbro, growth is everything. And for someone like me or you who cares a lot about D&D and appreciates the spread of our hobby into mainstream culture, this is huge. So we're going to break down exactly what launched and what killed D&D 5e's explosive growth and talk about what it might mean for us and the future of our amazing hobby. Because I'm Bob, this is where we learn how to have more fun playing D&D together, and if you're worried about the challenges of finding new people to play with, our sponsor, Looking for Group, has you covered. They're building an app to show you groups of people wanting to play games either online or in person in your area based on your user profile. And their goal is for the whole process to take less than 1 minute. That's faster than it takes me to get my friends together for a new campaign. But they need your support to really make it happen. So check out Looking for Group through the link below. Now, this is Google Trends. It's a fairly useful tool for content creators like me because you can type in any search topic and see what related subtopics people are actually searching for on Google. You can look at search data from any country or the entire world and any time frame all the way back to 2004. Recently, I decided to look at the full worldwide time frame for just D&D, and here's what I found. It's basically stagnant until August of 2014, 1 month after the launch of D&D's 5th edition, aka 5e. We can add other spellings or phrasings of the term D&D to get a more clear picture here of smaller peaks like this one in 2008, the launch of D&D 4th edition, which clearly didn't do much for the game's widespread popularity or at least its searchability on Google. But when we remove these other terms and focus on 5e's lifetime, we can see the literal trend setters. March 2015, a group of voice actors start streaming their D&D campaign every Thursday on Geek and Sundry's Twitch channel in a new show called Critical Role.
I'm going to House on Japan if anybody wants to.
Man, the audio was really terrible back then. February 2016, a game designer and independent author, Matthew Colville, uploads his first video in a new YouTube series, Running the Game.
Here's the pitch. I want to turn you from someone who wants to play D&D into somebody who wants to run D&D. Maybe you've seen Critical Role.
And later that year, in July, an 80s homage mystery sci-fi show hits Netflix. It's Stranger Things, and it's a hit.
The Demogorgon!
Unlike the great 5e books released around this time, these shows were major milestones because they attracted and supported new D&D players. So the tidal wave of people discovering or rediscovering Dungeons and Dragons through Stranger Things now had this infrastructure of entertaining videos with professional actors showing and thereby explaining what the game really looks like, and had an experienced DM with an authoritative and welcoming presence, encouraging people not just to play D&D, but to choose to be the Dungeon Master and actually build your own group of players.
Being a Dungeon Master is fun, it's creative, and it's not that hard.
So personally, I was late to the Stranger Things party, but Critical Role and Matt Colville absolutely reinforced my growing interest in D&D around 2016, and I think that applied to millions of people. And of course, each of these elements were riding on D&D 5e's simplified and streamlined rule set, so their combined success was inevitable, and they exploded in popularity. Matt Colville has since started his own RPG publishing company. Critical Role became the highest earning channel on Twitch, and Stranger Things Season 3 is one of the most watched shows of all time on Netflix. But then, about 6 months after the release of that season, the real world kinda turned upside down. And a lot of us used our extra time inside to play D&D. 2020 was actually the biggest year ever for Dungeons and Dragons. Their sales jumped 33%, adding to a 6-year growth streak. But 2020 also apparently ended that growth streak. Even though the news seemed to tell us that forced online D&D was a boon for the hobby, I think the real story is that the resulting delays of major media productions like Stranger Things Season 4, which had started filming in February 2020, and of the upcoming D&D movie, which had its release delayed twice, really stopped D&D 5e's momentum in the mainstream. Even with a few major book releases within the D&D fandom, all right around that peak, Mythic Odysseys of Theros, Icewind Dale, Tasha's Cauldron, honestly some of the most exciting releases we've had in the last 2 years, all of us playing isolated at home wasn't attracting enough new players to maintain that wild growth streak. So, is D&D doomed? Absolutely not. I'm hopeful that Stranger Things Season 4, which I think just came out, and the movie coming next year could put D&D back into the public eye where it belongs, but if they don't, I'm going to keep enjoying D&D at home and sharing it with you here. So check out this other cool video about D&D data. Thank you for your support, and keep building.